I've got a guest with me today.
Joel.
So Joel and I are going to share with you a little comparison between, can you give them the names, buddy?
The ColdSteel Ultimate Hunter and the ColdSteel Recon 1.
Perfect. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with. Now, these are not the most comparable knives, but I thought this would be worthwhile for a couple of reasons. One, I find both of these to be extremely versatile knives. They're knives that I've often recommended to people. And they're really close in price point. They're really close in construction, same materials. So there are a lot of similarities here. By the way, if you go to White Mountain Knives, you could save yourself 10% off if you use my discount code. Do you know what my discount code is? Sharp Stuff.
Sharp Stuff.
Yeah. So you can use Sharp Stuff as a discount code over at White Mountain Knives and save yourself a little bit off. I think the Recon 1 goes for about $100, and the Ultimate Hunter is like under 110 anyway. It might be 104 or 107. Both those numbers stick in my head. I'm not sure which one is correct. So we're going to run through some comparisons. I've got Joel here because he can help me, talk about how they feel in hand, what he likes about the blade shape, what he doesn't like about the blade shape, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So let's start off with size and weight. These are just numbers, so I'll give them to you. We have 9 1/4 inches on the Recon 1, 3 7/8 blade length, 5.5 inches on the handle overall. That's when the knife is closed. 4 inches of grip area, so between here and here, 4 inches. And this guy weighs in at 5.2 ounces. Moving over to the Ultimate Hunter, this guy is 8 9/16 overall, 3.5 inches on the blade, 5-inch handle length. All right, now again, same grip area, 4-inch grip area, and a little bit lighter at 4.9 ounces. Okay, so that's the two knives we're looking at. And in terms of size, weight, and carry, I'm going to get Joel to help me out here to pick which one would go easiest in your pocket. So let me close them down so you can kind of see the configuration you'd be dealing with. All right, so you can see, for one, the Recon is going to take up more space in your pocket. Let me just hand these off to Joel and let him try each one, and then as he hands them back, he'll kind of be able to see. So try to put that in your pocket, see how it feels, and then we'll switch. Okay, so the Recon 1, and then try the Ultimate Hunter.
Heavy.
By the way, while he's doing that, I'll tell you one other dimension. So the Recon 1 is almost 2 inches across this way. However, it's only 1/2 inch thick. All right?
That's what I'm going to say. This one is heavier than this one.
Yep, it definitely is. Now, the Ultimate Hunter is going to have a little bit of a smaller distance there. It's going to take up a little less real estate in pocket. However, see that it might just be a hair thicker. All right. So, Joel, if you're going to carry one of these around all day, which one would be easier to carry, do you think?
The Ultimate Hunter.
The Ultimate Hunter? I think the Ultimate Hunter would be easier as well. Takes up less space in pockets. So, on our first category, size, weight, and carry, we're going to give the win to the Ultimate Hunter. Moving on now to the blades. So let's get both of these blades open and sort of in the center of the shot here. Okay, so we've got, first of all, some similarities. Both of these are S35VN steel. Both of these have flat ground blades. Now, the differences are going to be the higher flat grind on the Recon 1, the clip point, of course, on the Recon 1 versus the drop point. The edge geometry is a little bit different as well. The Recon 1 is a little thicker behind the edge than the Ultimate Hunter, and the blade stock is basically the same. So we kind of do a rundown. I already asked Joel about one subjective thing. Which one of these did you say was a little scarier?
The Recon 1.
Yeah, so the Recon 1, and what we're thinking about in that regards, if I don't know, you're out at a restaurant or you're sitting in church or something and you need to get your knife out, This one is going to get a little more attention than this one. Do you agree with that, Joel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, in terms of performance, that's a little tougher. Both of these blades, I would say, Joel, you can disagree if you want to, but I would say both of these blades are pretty versatile and pretty well balanced. That is, they're both able to cut really well, but are also both really, really tough. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I've never seen them do any of that, but I still think that because of the look of them, you can just tell they're big, tough, and good knives.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, so you could perhaps argue that the Recon, the Ultimate Hunter would bite into material a little easier if you're bushcrafting, trying to make a feather stick or something like that. The Recon 1 being a little tougher. Obviously, it does have a sharper point. So any kind of stabbing task, the Recon 1 is going to perform a little bit better. Although, you know, one of the things I do from time to time is stab knives into stuff just to feel the difference. And I can tell you that, yes, a clip point stabs into stuff a little bit better, but for the human hand to perceive that difference is really, really difficult. So let's try and declare a winner here between the two blades. Now, should be pointed out, by the way, that the Recon 1 has a bit more cutting edge, but not a lot. So if I put these, sort of line up the Ricassos here, you can see that there might be a 1/4 of an inch difference between them in terms of actual cutting edge.
I'm going to say the Recon 1 wins. The Recon 1 wins.
You're going to say the Recon 1 wins this one? I kind of agree with you on the Recon 1. The Recon 1 is very, very tough and durable. Now, let me say that the difference between these is almost indiscernible, right? And if you said to me, you know, Kevin, I'm sending you out to cut up a bunch of cardboard boxes, which one do you want? I really would not care, right? Both of them do a great job. So, but we're going to give the win for blade to the Recon 1. I think partially for design, partially for that little bit of extra cutting edge, and partially for that little bit of extra piercing ability.
And stabbing.
And stabbing. That's what I meant by piercing. So, I will already say Joel's not a huge fan of the locks on these guys because they're a bit stiff, and that's true of any ColdSteel. If you have any ColdSteel knife, one of the things that you'll hear is, yeah, the triad lock is a little bit tough. Now, Joel's only 9. If you're a grown man and you can't operate this lock, yeah, that's not cool. I don't know, spend some time at the gym or something. But I will grant that, let's say, comparing this to, I don't know, a titanium frame lock or a compression lock on a Spyderco, or even the back lock that's found on a lot of other knives other than ColdSteel, you may find them a little bit easier. I'm happy to have that little bit of extra difficulty to get the strength of the triad lock. It really is the strongest lock out there. And so I think that's fair comparison. Joel, I want to have you come in here. I'm just going to hand these over to Joel. Do you want to do it on camera or off camera?
I'll do it on camera.
Okay, come a little closer then. So I'm just going to let Joel open both of these. Come over here, Ryan. Try and do it one-handed. All right, so Recon 1 was no problem. Try the Ultimate Hunter. Okay, so I think Joel probably saw the point that I wanted to make here. Which one was a little bit harder?
The Ultimate Hunter.
Yeah, the Ultimate Hunter. It's not that bad, but it's a little tougher because of the placement of that thumb stud. Now, the trade-off, I suppose, is that the thumb stud is out of the way of the cutting edge. But notice how close it is here to the frame, so it's a little harder to access. Not significantly harder, and honestly, because these both have the exact same locks, the exact same deployment method, Joel, are you with me in calling this one a tie?
No, I want to say the Recon 1.
Joel says the Recon 1 should win this one. I say it's a tie, and part of it is just hand strength. I don't have a real difficulty opening either one, but Joel, because of the size of his hand being much smaller, is going to find a bigger difference in opening those two knives. So if you're concerned at all about it, you can definitely get more leverage on that lock bar. Look at how much space you've got there. So you can get a lot of leverage on that thumb stud. I don't know why I called it a lock bar a second ago. But you can get a lot more leverage on the thumb stud using the Recon 1 compared to the Ultimate Hunter.
And if you don't agree with us on any of these, just tell us in the comments.
Yep, good point. All right, let's move down to the handle. So the construction is exactly the same. The materials are exactly the same. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on those 2 points. However,
is not the same.
The texture, that's right, is not the same. The way they feel in hand is not the same. So the big difference between these two, one, this guy is 3D contouring. That is, it's all rounded. And then if we, if we look at that as the plus of the Ultimate Hunter, the plus on the Recon 1, if Joel would turn it sideways for me, is that heavy, heavy texturing. Like, feel with your finger how grippy that is. So
it's like sandpaper.
Yeah, it really is like sandpaper. And then feel the Ultimate Hunter. What do you think?
Feels like a floor.
Feels like our floor. There you go. So there is a definite difference in comfort between these two. Okay.
But I'd say this one is more comfortable because there's a bit more grip. You feel a bit more confident that you're not going to drop it.
Ah.
It's gonna slip out.
So Joel's saying he feels a little more confident with the Recon 1. And the Recon 1 really does have a positive grip. You get a hold of this thing, you are not letting go. And that could be really important. Think about it. If you're in a self-defense situation, the last thing you want to do is drop your knife. I would perhaps argue with him a little bit that the shape of the handle on the Ultimate Hunter serves a similar purpose, but ultimately he's right. I don't know, ultimately I should have found an alternate word for that. But anyway.
Because I'm better than you.
Yeah. Okay. So he's right about the extra grippiness for sure of the Recon 1. Here's how I would describe this though. If I was going to say do some cutting task that was going to take me a long time, I'd rather have this because the roundedness of it just makes it a little more comfortable in hand, and you're going to get less fatigue over time if you're doing a ton of cutting. If my primary concern is retention of the knife, then I would lean toward the Recon 1. Now,
I'm a star!
Now, out of those two, I've got to say I'm going to lean toward the Ultimate Hunter. I like the comfort of the Ultimate Hunter. Joel, what do you think?
Yeah, I do like the comfort of the Ultimate Hunter, but yeah, I kind of have to agree with that.
Okay, fair enough. So the Ultimate Hunter gets the point for the comfort in hand. And now we can kind of move down to our overall impressions of these two knives. So honestly, guys, here's what I would say. And Joel, you can weigh in a second here. If you want a versatile knife that can do everything you could think of, but a major role for it is going to be outdoor use, camping, hiking, hunting, that kind of stuff, then the Ultimate Hunter is probably the way to go. If you want a knife that can do all that stuff, but perhaps falls a little more on the self-defense side,
this one is the way to go.
There you go. Then the Recon 1 would be the way to go.
This one is better than that one. If overall, I like this one better because it looks like a sword.
So overall, Joel picks the Recon 1. If we had to get rid of one, which one would you get rid of? Which would you keep?
I'll keep this one and get rid of this one.
Okay, so Joel says keep the Recon 1, lose the Ultimate Hunter. Now there's one consideration we haven't made here, and that is if you're a big Andrew Demko fan. Andrew Demko is, of course, the designer of the Ultimate Hunter, and it looks very much like his work. It looks like a custom Demko. Very, very strong similarity between this and the AD10. That comparison I'll do, sometime in the next few days. And so there's that about the Ultimate Hunter that could be a drawing card. The other thing I will say is if you're someone who, if you're getting your knife out in public all the time, if you want a knife that you can easily get out and use around other people, maybe that leans you more toward the Ultimate Hunter as well. You might make some people a little uncomfortable with the Recon 1. Let's see. So let's try and compare, to finish these off just a little bit. You get more cutting edge on the Recon 1. You get a little less cutting edge on the Ultimate Hunter. You get a little bit smaller size in pocket on the Ultimate Hunter, which some people are going to really like. I don't really carry anything else in my knife pocket, just my knife. So I don't care too much about that. You obviously get more size and more blade length and more reach with the Recon 1 for a defensive situation. Both of these, though, are really, really capable knives. And
this one's also good for self-defense, because then you can say, look, I got a cool knife. You better watch out. I'm going to stab you with it.
Yeah, okay. So there might be some intimidation factor on the Recon 1. So we know what Joel would pick. He says Recon 1 all the way. If I had to get rid of one of these, if I could only pick one knife to keep, I would have to break this down in two different ways. If I have to keep one knife only, and you know, maybe you're calling me up and saying, Kevin, I'm just going to buy one of these, and that's going to be my only knife that I'm ever going to own, then I would say go with the Ultimate Hunter, because there's a few more situations you can use it in. If you're like me and you have a knife collection, therefore, you know, you have options about what you carry, then I would go with the Recon 1, because the Recon 1 is just unique in its value, in its ability, in the fact that it's, you know, definitely this tactical fighting knife that still can do everything else very well and do it at a great price point. So that's my overall conclusion, guys. If it's, you know, if I had no other knives and I was just picking between these two, I would pick the Ultimate Hunter.
Which that means he chooses the Recon 1 to win.
If I have a collection, which I do, and I could only pick one, I would go with the Recon 1, because it holds a pretty unique place in the knife world. Now, the fact is, I like both, and I'm happy to have both. And either one of these that you have, either one of these that you pick at the end of this video for yourself, you really can't go wrong. Joel, you want to say see you later?
Yeah, one thing. Comment in the comments, which one do you think is better?
Joel's just got to turn this into a contest, so sure. He wants you to either affirm his choice of the Recon 1 or say, nope, Joel, you were wrong. You should have picked the Ultimate Hunter. And we'll see how that goes down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
See you in the next one.
Hold on, we got one more thing to say. Don't forget to use my link to White Mountain Knives and use my discount code.
Sharp stuff.
Sharp stuff, that's right. That does help the channel. Thanks again for watching. Have a Merry Christmas.
See you in the next one.